Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
The spider guts.
Spider-Verse? Oh, that's stupid. It's called the Arachno-Humanoid Polymultiverse. Which sounds stupid too, I guess.
I am Paul Atreides, son of Leto Atreides, Duke of Arrakis.
As a servant of the Imperium, you will bow at my feet.
Your feet! You'll be lucky to keep your head.
All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Movie Punditry. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Randell, joined by my good friend, advisor, smartest guy I know, Mr. Mike.
I don't know about all that, but I do appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm very excited. I don't think I've been this excited to record since, I don't know, maybe we were the Last of Us. I think that's, well, I'm pretty sure there were other things that I was excited to talk about, but yeah, man, I'm excited. I saw Captain America: Brave New World, and trying to think about the best way to say this. Okay, you've seen what's on Rotten Tomatoes. Just set the table for the people about the stark difference between the critics and what the people are saying.
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, critics are looking at different things than people are. So right now, as of today, this movie has got a 49% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a rotten score. It's got an 80% audience score. So that's a pretty wide, disparity between what the audiences are seeing and what the people who are going to see the movie for, a fan's enjoyment are seeing. And not that we haven't seen that before in Marvel movies, or in comic book movies in general. I think a lot of times critics go for different reasons than fans do. I mean, would that be fair to say?
Yeah. And so I went and I saw the movie Monday. Theater was decent, It was a holiday. It was about 5:00. I didn't expect to be jam-packed. That's why I picked it. What at the big, it starts with action. As a matter of fact, it starts almost exactly the way the Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts. Literally, like Sam's off on a mission, similar style mission. And what was throwing me off is that Sam was holding his own in hand-to-hand combat, because the last time we saw Sam, he's kind of getting his ass kicked. Excuse my language. That's fair to say?
Yeah.
And I remember when we finished the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was thinking to myself, like, how are they going to make me believe that, like, I believe he's Captain America. I feel like he's a worthy guy to hold the shield. But how are you going to make me believe that he can hold his own in a fist fight? Because I've watched Steve Rogers for the past umpteen years just pulverize people. And they put Sam in some very similar situations. And I get it. He's got a suit. Black Panther's got a suit. Black Panther also has a super serum of his own and a suit. You just give me a guy with a suit. You've never explained what this suit can do. So as I'm watching it, it just didn't sit right with me because he's holding his own.
So who's he fighting?
Regular dudes.
Yeah. So he's a regular dude fighting regular dudes.
But he's fighting gangs of regular dudes. This is that was what threw me off. Like, think Steve in the elevator, but it's not an elevator, but
right. No, I
pretty
hear
much
you.
the same amount of
Yeah.
So that was throwing me off, and then I think at some point my brain just accepted it, and then the movie just clicked.
Yeah. I mean, I think, audiences are used to that type of a trope where we see, Jason Statham kicking 14 guys' butt, who conveniently come one at a time at him. Or
see, they weren't coming one at a time. That's the thing.
but you know what I'm saying? It's like the idea that this one highly trained guy can take on a bunch of thugs is not necessarily something that audiences are not prepared for or don't see all the time.
You know why it didn't sit right with me? And you can tell me if maybe I saw it different, but all they told me was that Sam flew with these, or they showed like the code name Falcon wingsuits, like he flew missions, right?
Right, the EXP, whatever it is.
Yeah. I never got a backstory on the Sam's training. I've never seen Sam in too many. I've seen him shoot some guns. I saw him get his butt kicked by Crossbones. I saw George St. Pierre kick his behind. A lot of times I'm seeing Sam get whooped if he's not flying. So you didn't give me no Rocky montage of somebody, maybe the Wakandans, being like, hey, Sam, let's teach you how to fight. You know what I'm saying? So to just see the first thing in this movie, I got the suit on, I'm whooping tail. It was kind of like, huh? I think they didn't. That is where the Falcon and Winter Soldier failed in the character building a bit for me, because his montage scene was him throwing the shield a bunch at the tree and catching it, and his nephews being like, "Oh wow, this is cool." So I'm like, I get it. You can throw the shield, but I haven't seen. I see you get whooped a lot, or
right.
So that's what was throwing me off. But once my brain accepted it, the movie was really, really good. I would say the pacing might have been a little too. Granted, it's one of the shorter Marvel films. The pacing was quick. They didn't MCU it up. They did. It was like they've heard everything we said. Like, please don't shove a bunch of stuff into this film to set everything up. It ties up a lot of loose ends from the previous Hulk films. It was almost like, hey, let's take this Captain America film and tie up a bunch of stuff we never tied up. Right. I text Mike, I want to say maybe a third of the way through the movie, and I was like, my issue with it at the time is that it felt like Kevin Feige said, hey, folks have heard, all we hear is folks love the Winter Soldier and they love the Civil War. Let's just mash them together and make Sam the lead guy. And after like really thinking about it, that's what it was. Like, they used a lot of the same things going on in those movies, but it works. I've seen some people say like they couldn't follow the plot threads. I don't know. If you've got a seventh grade education, it works. So there's some things that I thought were coming but didn't come, and I think it might have paid off a bit better. I'll just get this out the way. There should have been some involvement with Sharon Carter. The way the story, like somebody pulling the strings and all this stuff, it works better if it had been her. But the justifications and the reasons they give her, so whoever's pulling the strings, it works. Harrison Ford, hell of a job. Man can act his behind off. I still stand by. Well, I don't think folks on the podcast know this, but I have been saying that Sterling K. Brown should have been, Sam Wilson. I stand by it even more. Anthony Mackie's a decent actor. He doesn't come off as leader of the Avengers actor, especially with being Cap. And I don't know how much they're going to stick this comic book, but when Sam becomes Cap, he is still the leader of the Avengers. Um, Joaquin, the new Falcon, guy can act. He provides a lot of the comic relief, and it's not overly done. This was a very restrained Marvel film. The jokes are there, but when they're there, they're appropriate. They're really funny, and they never pull you out of the seriousness of some of these situations. Carl Lumbly, hell of a job, absolute hell of a job. There's a couple scenes in there that hit really hard. I'm just trying to think.
Well, I always liked, and we talked about this when Falcon and the Winter Soldier was on. The Isaiah Bradley arc. I always really liked that, and the idea that they were kind of bringing this kind of dark past to the Shield, because I think it gives more weight to the idea of, should Sam take the Shield or not? Because not only is he looking at it as, as whatever his political leanings are and whatever he believes, but he's looking at it as, I'm not a metahuman. I'm not, super powered, and I need to go and do this. But he's also looking at it as a black man with all that baggage that's attached to it and how we got there. And
so
go ahead.
That doesn't come up as much in the film. Some conversations with Isaiah comes up, a couple spots at the end, but it doesn't come as much as I thought it would. I have a couple of guesses as to why they toned that down.
I would imagine it's because, it's tuned more for mass media, for a more casual fan. Those of us who've seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who understand, it's like anything. The more you dive into it, the more that you understand the backstory, the more significant certain things may become.
Yeah.
So you can watch it and not have that piece, and that's fine. But for those of us who watched it, that piece is in there.
I wish they would have leaned into it a bit more than in this film, but I could also see why they didn't. Because one thing Feige says is, in this movie, we want to cement that he is Captain America. And you see that from the jump. The only person who was questioning is should he be Captain America is Ross.
Yeah.
Everybody else, every time they talk to him, it's Cap.
Right.
There's a scene he's in a bar, he's about to pay for some drinks. No, Cap, it's on us. Every person refers to him as Cap.
And that's, yeah. And I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. Like, okay, we're getting this out of the way. This is Captain America. I don't care what you say online. I don't care what you say in your comic shops. Captain America. Let's move on.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to circle back to something that you said where you were talking about, like at the beginning, about how, it was kind of out of place for Sam to be kicking these guys' butts and stuff all the time. I just want to point out that, Sam Wilson, prior to meeting Steve Rogers, he was pararescue, and that's not a little thing, right? Those guys are fully qualified special forces operators who then get additional training in search and rescue and medical. So because pararescue is a real thing. And those guys go through, obviously not with the suits, but those guys go through, they go through Army Ranger training. They are Army Rangers. They go through combat dive training. They go through all these specialized special forces training. And they are as qualified as like a Delta team guy. And then they get the search and rescue. Oh, I got a helicopter flying over. Give it a sec. Sheriff's Department's out.
So I'll say this while the helicopter's flying over. I wish they'd have given more backstory to that, or just shown him being more capable. Because prior to him getting the shield, I've always just saw him as Cap sidekicking every now and then you swoop in and do something, but other than that, you'd be getting whooped a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think there were glimpses of it. You know, you had like the bridge fight in Winter Soldier where Sam held his own and he didn't have the suit, you know. I mean, there were pieces of it, but I agree with you. Like, it would have been nice to have just a little bit of exposition to say,
Mhm.
you know, oh man, he's a serious badass, you know, or these
Yeah.
pararescue guys are no joke, or something along those lines, to kind of just to give it a little bit of weight and a little bit of
And by
understanding.
the end of the movie, he does things that you see. Okay, like one thing I'll definitely give him, and I don't know who wrote this, who wrote concept was of this, is he makes use of the shield in his own way. Um, and the clip is floating around online, so I'm going to just talk about it. There's a point where there's a fighter jet flying after him, and he tells Red Wing, he's like, "Get him off my back." Throws the shield, and Red Wing hovers inside the shield and basically is covering Sam and deflecting all the bullets while Sam flies. It's one of the coolest scenes in the film.
Right.
And he does a lot of things throughout the film with the shield like that. Which is awesome. The other thing that it's never gonna sit right, and I think they gotta fix this, seeing the purple, the kinetic being charged up in the wings, it throws me off every time I see it, because it's just like, y'all couldn't at least made it blue or red or something.
Well, but
Because
it's like supposed to be like the vibranium thing, right?
it is the vibranium, but I'm like, it throws me off a lot. I kind of wish they just kept that color scheme exclusive to the Wakandans, and like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think I'd probably be sitting there going, well, why is it not purple? You know, if it's
Yeah.
vibranium, it should look exactly like T'Challa's suit. But I see your point. I mean, I guess they could have tuned it or said something like, "Oh, it's tuned for this," or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a minor thing. Pacing of the film was great. The Saber chick, no issue with her. You can kind of see what they're doing by calling her an ex-Black Widow, because, like, you know, Raw says, like, we're trying to restart the Avengers. All right, well, I don't know if you're gonna get her sister, and if you can't, we'll get this girl.
Right.
There aren't a lot of cameos in it. Like, they kept this a Captain America film.
It was good. I'm glad.
And that's and hopefully they take that tack going forward. I'll say it was like classic MCU.
Right.
You got like 2 cameos. Post-credit scene was not overdone, just enough. Like, and then it's funny, I remember I saw the interview, like, where Anthony Mackie said, he goes, you know, we went back to some of the original stuff with the MCU, and you see it. Let's tell this story, give you some tidbits here and there, and keep it moving. And they did a good job at it. Is it perfect? No, you can tell which scenes were reshot and which scenes were from the original. Like the scene at the end, one of the final scenes, the color scheme, and everything is just different from everything you saw in the rest of the film.
Yeah, a lot
John
of I
Carlos-
mean, that happens a lot of times, and sometimes it even happens because, you know, they're not, you know, it's a different person shooting it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the guy shooting the next movie is shooting the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking of where was the scene where Sam and Steve had like Bucky in the big vice grip?
Oh yeah. Right after the helicopter.
Was that well, what was that at the end of? Was that at the end? That wasn't.
It was at the end of.
It wasn't.
No, that wasn't at the end.
No,
that was during.
Well, it was during,
Civil
but it first showed up as a post-credit scene.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. And so was it, and I can't remember which movie it showed up at the end of, because it had to be after Winter Soldier, but it was after they went. I found him how to do before Civil War.
Because wasn't the post credit scene for Ultron wasn't that Thanos grabbing the glove?
I'll do it myself. That one.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, I know it was just shot by a different director, and
Okay.
it was shot by Joe and Anthony Russo. So sometimes it's part of the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it may have a different aesthetic to it. Is all I was really trying to say.
I could see that. But all I'd say, like, as of right now, where I sit, I'd say if it was a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it's an 8, 7.5. I'm going back and forth between those two. I'm gonna go see it again. Maybe I come out and I say it's an 8. It's funny because acting wise, Anthony Mackie might be the weakest one. And he's not a bad actor. I just never feel like leading man, which I think we can transition into Paradise. Have you seen any of this show yet?
Which show? No, I haven't.
All right. So the concept is that Sterling K. Brown is Secret Service agent for the president. Well, of course, for the president, but who's just the guy that played Cyclops' name?
James Marsden.
Yeah. And the president gets murdered. And he doesn't know who to trust, and he has to figure it out. Sterling K. Brown's acting in this show is top tier. Like Idris Elba, Tom Hanks, Denzel, whoever you want to name, it is top tier. And it's funny because last weekend I watched American Fiction with sorry, guy, that's the voice of the Watcher.
Jeffrey Wright?
Yes. In that movie, Sterling plays his brother. He plays a gay guy who's coked out, plastic surgeon, and he plays the role phenomenally. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, they wasted the role of Njobu on this guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about that they completely wasted Sterling in that movie. Like, you could have had, for all the scenes that he had, you could have had anybody do that.
Anybody. And my hope is with all this multiverse world, and which is essentially going to be a big reset, they can find a role for this guy.
Yeah.
Because I can't talk too much about Paradise. I need you to see it because, like, there's a huge twist at the beginning of the show, and then you can kind of go from there. But I just want to say, you got Disney, you got Hulu Plus, you got watch Paradise.
Okay.
His acting is phenomenal.
Well, it always is. I mean,
yes.
He's, even his very brief scenes of Black Panther, he was good in. And I don't know if you ever watched the People versus O.J. Simpson.
Yes, I have.
He played Chris Darden. He was fantastic in that.
I mean, if I'm James Gunn, I'm getting on the phone and I'm like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
You want to be Steel? We'll find a way to make it work. We can kick out the Mufasa guy and you can be Jon Stewart. I don't care if he just signed on. What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Well, we just started watching season 3 of Reacher.
I forgot that started.
Yeah, it just started. They just dropped 3 episodes this week, and then it's weekly after that.
Oh, I got something to watch
it's
tonight.
Pretty good. Like, it's pretty.
I love that show.
Pretty good. It's a very different character than the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher.
I like this one better.
Well, it's more true to the book, I think, to the books. One, because this guy's a monster. Like, you watch him walking next to people, it's like, oh my God, like, who is this guy? He's huge, You know, and that was one of the things about Jack Reacher is he's supposed to be like this intimidating figure, and that's not Tom Cruise.
At all.
But I've been watching The Pit.
We're supposed to start that soon.
Yeah. So that's really, really, really good. It's kind of like, how can I put this? It's kind of like combine ER with 24 because it takes place in real time. Each episode is an hour in this guy's shift.
Oh.
In the emergency room.
Oh.
So every episode starts,
that.
it's 11 o'clock, it's 12 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock. And it's one continuous story. It's all the same day. And but it does not pull any punches. And
like, am I going to see gore?
You're going to see a little bit. Yeah. There's a little bit, but it's not a lot. But there are moments of it where they show you, you know, hey, we're on HBO, we're gonna do some stuff. But the thing that I really like after watching like the third maybe episode of it, I kind of came to the realization like there's like it doesn't let up. Like there's no resolution. There's no like happy moment at the end of an episode. You know, a lot of these shows
that might be a good thing.
It's a great thing, but it takes you a minute to get used to that. You know what I'm saying? That it's not going to let up. It's not going to let you off the hook.
Okay.
And be like, okay, so we had this really intense 50 minutes, and now everybody's gonna have a happy moment before we, you know, cut to credits. No, they're not going to do that. You're going to be elbows deep in it, and then they're going to cut to credits, and then you're going to come right back to that moment next week.
Okay.
And I've talked to, like, I've read some stuff online, and I've talked to some people in the medical, you know, who are nurses and stuff in the medical profession. They're like, yeah, no, that's it. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, I think that's why my wife wants to watch it so badly, because she's in the medical field. And she wants something that's more like true to life, more accurate of what she experiences.
Like even down to like the weird medical stuff. It's like, yeah, there's, you know, some of the stuff that I marked that was like, you know, like one of the things that drives me crazy is they do this on TV all the time. It's like somebody's heart stops. And it's like, we have no pulse, there's no blah, blah, blah. His heart stopped beating and they hit him with the paddles. That's not what the paddles are for. You know, shocking somebody won't start their heart. It's for when their heart's not beating in rhythm. It's like it gets it back into sync. And like they literally said that at one point in the show. Like one of the interns was like, you know, could we shock him or blah blah? And, you know, he's like, you know, shocking him is for this or whatever. It's like they're literally taking all the pains to be as accurate as they can with it, which is
good.
Yeah.
What else are you watching?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. What else am I watching here? I mean, we're watching, you know, it's like new show season, so it's a lot of like second season, so it's a lot of my wife's stuff we're watching right now. She's big into like crime procedurals and things, you know, FBI and all that stuff. Some of which is good, some of which is passable. Some of it we just hate watch.
Yeah, that's me with Love Is Blind.
Yeah. Fire Country. She actually is not watching it anymore, but we were watching Fire Country, and it's like the most awful show with the worst acting ever.
I've seen the commercials and I've stayed away.
It's so bad.
Oh, there's like a new movie on Netflix. I think Robert De Niro and Angela Bassett are in it.
Oh, really?
You heard about it?
No.
I think it's something like where like an ex-president comes back into power. Let me see.
Oh man, I may have a little PTSD from that.
Let me see. I came across it today and I was like, here's 0 Day. Let me look this up.
What's it called? 0 Day?
Yeah, an American political thriller series.
Oh, it's a series.
Yeah, starring Robert De Niro, Lizzie Kaplan. Uh, a devastating global cyber attack. It came out today,
Oh
actually.
wow. Oh, okay.
Let me see. Robert De Niro, Lizzie Kaplan, Jesse Plemons, Joan Allen, Connie Bittrin, Bill Kemp,
Oh,
Dan Stevens,
we'll have to give that a
Angela
whirl.
Bassett. 6 episodes. Um, conspiracy thriller implicating the highest levels of U.S. federal government. Speaker of the House Richard Dreyer, portrayed by Matthew Modine, orchestrate a plot against a sitting government for their own vested interest.
Huh. All right.
Kidder
I'll have to give that a whirl.
is a sociopath billionaire and CEO of a tech company. Wow. Sounds very
It does.
current.
It does, man. We're gonna have to dig into. Yeah. Tell me about it. We're gonna have to dig
All
into
right.
it.
I think I'll start this weekend. Give us something to talk about. Might be a little too close to home. Oh, so how do you feel about Forza coming to PlayStation?
All right. So, that's what I wanted to talk about, and I was actually thinking of like doing maybe a video and stuff on this. So, Forza Horizon 5 has reached the. They've announced the end of new content.
Mm.
They dropped the last car, which was a Ford, some kind of Ford Mustang special edition in the last update. And that is supposedly it in air quotes, the last new content for the game. So the way Forza is set up has been set up for the last few games, Horizon. They do what's called a festival playlist, where every week they give you a series of challenges, and it's usually like 10 or 12 challenges. Some of them are really easy, like take a picture of this car here. Usually it's a couple of races, usually it's a couple of stunts. You do a danger sign, you do a speed zone, do a playground game. Sometimes there's a treasure hunt, sometimes there's couple of different, usually there's a couple of different solo races, and then there's like a team race. So supposedly they are not doing any more new festival playlists. The last one, they're just going to be recycling events from older playlists, which they did the same thing in Horizon 4. And the reason I said in parentheses is because apparently there will be one new content drop after it hits PlayStation. There will be some new game mode that they're going to drop. How involved that's going to be, I don't know yet. So we'll see. As far as it goes, I think, obviously you're going to run into a situation where there's going to be a lot of new players who've never played it. What that's going to look like, tough to say. Probably, you see this as the beginning of every game. People who are jumping on for the first time and they don't know how to drive. They don't understand the physics of the game. They don't understand how the different game modes work. They're slamming people into walls. They're over-tuning their cars. They think that,
well,
I gotta max everything out in order to be successful, when that's not necessarily the case. We'll see.
I think they might be okay because Gran Turismo is pretty much the same thing as a motorsport.
Right, but Horizon's a very different game.
Yeah. I have a feeling the next Xbox is the last Xbox.
I agree with that. And I think we talked about this. I think Microsoft, they're trying to get out of the console business because they're pushing PC gaming really hard and cloud gaming really hard. I think that's where they're pushing. That you could play stuff on your PC. You can play it on your console if you have a console. You can play it directly on your TV in some cases. I think there's an app for Fire Stick now where you can play
Yeah, there's an
games
app
directly
on
on
there.
it.
Samsung TVs, LG TVs.
LG,
The
Sony
problem
TVs,
is,
you could play it directly on the TV without any additional hardware. You know, you can play it on your PC, you can play it on your mobile device. I think that's kind of they want to get out of the hardware business. So
the problem is, unless you have top tier internet, the lag is too much.
yeah,
I
well,
tried it on the Fire Stick a couple weeks ago, and it was unplayable.
really.
Um,
I mean, because I
what
play Forza on my laptop, and I've got a mid-grade laptop, and I'm not talking about like streaming from the console. I'm talking about straight up cloud gaming, and it's fine. I don't really notice any discernible lag.
I think they have to get the connection right across the board.
Now, granted, I've got like gigabit internet here with mesh, so I've got a pretty good setup here at the house, but I don't know. I think it's probably manageable. I mean, you do see sometimes when you're playing, you do see people who are glitching, and it's probably like, okay, they're either cheating badly or they've got a really wanky internet connection.
and it's tough for me because I remember Phil Spencer said he's like, we needed to be much more competitive with the Xbox One because that was the system where everybody was building up a digital library. So people are, for the most part, are going to be locked into one or the other.
Right.
And I'm probably going to end up getting whatever, Xbox One will next because like my digital library is pretty much there. The only thing I own on PlayStation are literally just their exclusives. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't play anything else on there. It's just looking back, the purchase of Activision helps them out a lot because I don't think this works if they try to go this route and they don't have Call of Duty in their back pocket. They don't have that Activision catalog.
Right.
Because the only, like, you think about it, when you think about Xbox, you think about Forza. I don't even know if you really think about Halo anymore because
No.
that last game was well received, but it's not one of this. People aren't, the live service aspect of it, people aren't playing that online multiplayer.
Yeah.
It's like they've literally just got Forza.
Yeah. Flight Simulator.
Yeah, and I can't even say motorsport. It's Horizon.
Yeah, motorsports is for like the real serious,
hardcore,
like try hard guys. Horizon is kind of more for people who are just out having fun.
Yeah. Speaking of, I need to extend my Game Pass.
We got a minute left. We got anything else, or
I'm good. I just need you to see Cap. I think we're both going to start this Netflix show, in Paradise.
All right.
And I'll start the HBO Max show in the hospital.
Well, that's it, folks. Then it's a good, short little show. Thanks for listening.
Quick pace like Captain America.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll catch you next time.